It's week 7 in the NFL, and we've got fantasy questions, such as, will Peyton Manning break Brett Favre's all-time touchdown record, and will you start the receiver who catches it?
How many times can we get burned by Eddie Lacy and Keenan Allen?
Oakland scored 28 points last week. Is it finally time to start some Raiders?
And with 107 rushing yards, welcome back Cam Newton. Curious if you're here to stay. I'm asking for a friend.
All these questions and more answered on this week's Fantasy War Room live to tape.
Miss Tassmacher!
You ever been prescribed painkillers before?
Yes.
For what was the occasion?
Let's see. Well, when I was younger, I had surgery performed on me, and my parents were in charge of the pain medicine, and I didn't need to take that much because Nintendo and ice cream took care of everything pretty much.
Yeah.
I had my teeth out once.
Yeah?
Yep. And took a few. It's fine. No big deal.
I will say, I'll admit to, when I tore my pectoral muscle once, got a little bit of OxyContin, and it said not to take that with alcohol. I took 2, washed it down with some whiskey. Felt great.
How was that?
I felt like I was on a different plane. Like it was amazing, and I don't recommend it because it's highly addictive. Jim Irsay, in a 24-day period in 2002, was prescribed over a 24-day period 400 tabs of OxyContin.
400 tabs of OxyContin?
In a 24-day period. That's if he's taking them, and not just handing them out to people like they're $100 bills.
At training camp,
that's
yes.
15 to 20 a day.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Colts fans would be more excited about their team or that they would throw a better tailgate if Jim Irsay just showed up and started handing out oxys?
Well, sure.
How awesome would Colts games be?
Again, deleterious over the long term. Not recommended. But yeah, you could shoot Jim Irsay with like elephant tranks, and he's going forward.
Right. Like remember that thing that happened years ago, that awful scene where like those 2 guys just covered themselves in like 3 layers of body armor and were just like firing guns down the middle of the street in LA like it was that big scene from the movie Heat.
Oh yeah.
Jim Irsay would be like that, except he'd just have Hulk skin because he wouldn't feel anything.
No.
Wow.
This is a fantasy football show, by the way.
No, but that's great.
Yeah.
Every week we've pledged to now start Fantasy War Room live to tape with discussions of people that take animalistic amounts of drugs.
120 prescriptions in a single year.
Wow. That's 1 every 3 days.
Yeah.
He has no wonder why he doesn't look sad when the Colts lose. He has no idea.
He can't feel his teeth.
It's not the only thing he can't feel. I need to try. I almost want to try that now. I'm sure it would probably kill me.
Folks, you're watching the Fantasy War Room live to tape.
Welcome.
My name's Matt. That's Nick. We're going to get into a little bit of fantasy discussion. It's not as things continue to fall apart as the season moves forward. Victor Cruz is gone for the year.
Torn patellar tendon. And it's called a patellar tendon, by the way.
Yeah.
You notice people always, well, not just because I'm from Boston and we pronounce things funny up there.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people think it's called the patella tendon.
No, but the patella is the kneecap. Patellar is the adjective for it.
No, patella is that stupid kid that lives down the street that always misses your doorstep when he throws the paper in the morning. Patellar is the tendon that runs behind the patella.
Got it.
Or is patella that peanut butter chocolate spread from Switzerland?
Yes, it is.
Just curious.
Yes. It's instead of hazelnut, it's the peanut version.
It is. It's a peanut spread.
Too many allergies here to sell it in America. Let's get into it. We also have Stephen Ridley's done for the year.
I know. The Patriots lost 9% of their starting lineup last Sunday against the Bills. Gerard Mayo, starting middle linebacker, quarterback of the defense, done for the year. They didn't even say what part of his knee he tore or screwed up.
They're just like, no, it's gone.
It's bad. Adam Schefter just tweeted like, it's bad. Stephen Ridley, torn ACL, done for the year. Now nobody can, grouse on social media or in the mainstream about, fumbles McRidley throwing games away, whatever. You know what? Don't know what you got till it's gone. I think they're going to miss him.
Flip a coin. Mm-hmm. You can have Brandon Bolden or James White for the rest of the season. Who do you want?
Bolden.
Yeah?
Yep. Plays, he's a two-way player, special teams. and has looked good at times when he's seen a lot of activity. 2012, he and Stephen Ridley had a huge game in Buffalo, in fact.
I recall.
Scored a couple touchdowns. A lot of people ran to the waiver wire, like they did this week, to replace Ridley or one of your many other running backs that have crapped the bed for you. He can do 90% of what Ridley does, plus play special teams. Let's see.
I'd be worried about the special team use because he's such a key special teamer for them that they'll want to give James White some of those carries. And we'll just be stuck in dual running back hell. Oh, right, and because Shane Vereen's still in the mix, too.
Yes, he is. And this might be Shane Vereen's time to shine, considering that he and Ridley were both coming into contract years as well. This could be, it's sad for Ridley, but, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Indeed, sir.
Yeah.
All right, let's kick things off by talking about quarterbacks, your quarterback rankings for Week 7. Number 1, Peyton Manning, as he goes for the all-time passing touchdown record. Brett Favre has 508. Peyton Manning sitting at 506. I think he breaks it this week.
Spoiler alert, it's going to happen Sunday.
The Niners are down. Jimmy Ward hurt his quad. Down some key linebacker. Their linebacking unit's taking a bunch of injuries down in St. Louis.
Bowman's banged up.
Yep.
Patrick Willis has a toe thing.
Yep.
Alden Smith is still drunk,
Suspended.
swearing at people at the airport. Excuse me, allegedly.
It happens.
I always just cover myself by doing that. Right? Just whatever, no matter whatever happens.
So I like Peyton Manning throwing 3 or 4 touchdown passes this week. Why wouldn't Julius again with the middle of that linebacking crew? Why not another 2 for Julius Thomas?
Sure, maybe 1 for Demaryius. Maybe they'll get Welker in on the action this week too.
Yeah, why not?
Welker, there's something about that guy. So he gets 3 this week, 509. Here's the Vegas bet of the week. How long is the on-field hootenanny for Manning once he throws touchdown 509 and breaks Favre's record? I'm going to go with 90 seconds.
Really? 90 seconds?
Okay,
I would think standing ovation, a little bit of waving around to the crowd, thank you, and then they go to kickoff. It's the NFL. The machine doesn't stop churning.
Do you remember how long when Tim Brown broke some receiving record on Monday Night Football like 13 years ago? On Monday, it was like a 15-minute break in the game.
Are you serious?
No, honestly.
Tim Brown broke a record?
Yeah. They pushed out, they wheeled out a cake. Somebody brought out one of those, like from Novelty Size Bank. They brought out Grand Prize Bank, like a huge check and everything.
No, I have no recollection of that.
I'm not. Why would I make this up? I don't get 120 prescriptions a year from...
Moving down the quarterback list, Aaron Rodgers versus the Panthers. No complaints there. As we move down, Andrew Luck against Cincinnati. Bengals in a little bit of a swoon. A good defense, but not really. They don't really have the numbers to back it up so far this year. They're kind of middle of the pack.
I wonder if the Patriots broke them. And I'm not bringing this up just because. Did the Patriots reveal, here's the game plan to... That's 37 points that Cam put up on them after the Pats put up 40-some-odd points on them.
I don't know, but
no one's really hurt on D. It's the offense that's hurting.
I do think that Andrew Luck is one of those guys where you play him every week. There's no consideration of you got a tough pass defense. No, Andrew Luck is going to get his every single week. Tom Brady's back, number 4 versus the Jets. The Jets are an absolute mess on the defensive side in terms of passing defense. D. Milner out for the season, torn Achilles, and that was we've been joking about hey, we're signing a contract with the Jets, and they just lost one of their probably best 1 or 2 cornerbacks to injury for the season. We really might get a call up.
There could be a point where we're auditioning to play quarterback for the Jets. The one thing that actually could help the Jets this week, in addition to the fact that Rex always games up for the Pats, rarely does he get showed up by them. Brady does not typically put up amazing numbers against them. I ranked Brady this high because he's looked great the last 2 weeks. He's bounced back form. That second half, a perfect passer rating against Buffalo in the second half last week. And he's got deep threats. Tomorrow night, it is going to be Egyptian flood myth level rain in Foxborough.
See, that would make me think that it's not going to be a number 4 passer this week.
That just came out.
Yeah.
The forecast just turned for the worse this afternoon. It was going to be sprinkles, and in New England we call sprinkles jimmies.
So we're looking at a 16-10 game with a defensive touchdown deciding the game.
Like last year when the Patriots and Jets played on Thursday Night Football last year, it was raining cats and dogs.
I know we're talking about fantasy, but any of you gamblers, get on that 10-point spread.
Get on that under.
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
Yep.
Big time.
All right, moving on. Tony Romo, given his performance against the Seahawks last week, he's another guy that you don't question. You put Tony Romo in the lineup and you start him. Same story with Jay Cutler. Fantastic week last week against the Falcons, which is a great way to have a fantastic week, is to play the Falcons defense.
They are the Atlanta Falcons are Alka-Seltzer for all that ails your fantasy team. And also the way that Aaron Rodgers was able to carve up the Dolphins when he was, quote, freestyling towards the end of the game. When Cutler's at home and they get a chance to get back in the NFC North, probably going to put it, even though they've got big corners in Miami, but they've got the big receivers to match.
Yeah.
Good week for Cutler.
I don't know how that game's going to shake out. The Dolphins are a team that I still don't have a really great feel for week to week. I just don't know what to expect of them.
It's like meeting Joe Philbin. Have you ever, listening to him and looking at him, have you ever gotten a feel for what kind of person he is?
No.
He had the same face on. He had that sort of like steely, Rapa Nui Easter Island face when did a press conference after he found out his son passed away.
Even Jim Caldwell's like, damn, that's an impassive face.
That boy needs to start showing some emotion. Come on, get fired up. Nothing, absolutely nothing you get out of him. Whatever.
Down the list, Cam Newton at Green Bay is your number 7 QB. I looked at that camera and I said, hey, Cam, stop taking care of yourself. I need you to run the ball. He did. 284 yards passing, but then 107 and a touchdown on the ground, too. Really nice week from Cam. It's good to see him back. The Panthers, Jonathan Stewart looks like he's going to be healthy. They finally have an actual running back instead of Charles Ogbenaya, Darren Reeves.
3 weeks tops until he's hurt, and now we're back to D'Angelo Williams.
But D'Angelo Williams is going to be healthy in 3 weeks. So as long as only Jonathan Stewart or D'Angelo Williams is healthy, then I'm happy.
With the Carolina running backs, it's like when you play. It's like when they play that game on the video board just to kill time between innings in baseball game. It's like which box is the ball under right now? Try and guess. Is it Ogbenaya, Stewart, or Williams? We'll find out in just a minute. It's just so. I steer clear of it entirely.
Well, I'm happy that I picked up Jonathan Stewart in one league where I desperately needed to put a salve of some sort on a gaping flesh wound that was pumping out blood.
I treat the Panthers kind of like the same way. Like Panthers running backs, I treat the same way as I do like a really crowded coffee house. Like if I need a cup of coffee in the morning and the place I want to go has a line of 15 people, but the deli across the street whose coffee is only half as good and kind of tastes like toilet water, but it's coffee, I'll go there.
I need that caffeine now.
I just need the caffeine now.
I can't handle that weight.
I will gladly take Storm Johnson over the Carolina running backs. Oof. Just because I don't feel like dealing with it. At least he's going to be, I know what kind of terrible I'm getting with him as opposed to the Carolina running backs.
All right. Interesting. An interesting choice.
I'm an interesting man.
Well, let's go back to quarterbacks.
Sure.
Phil Rivers. I'm just blowing out the sound in my ear here.
Yeah. Also, I've only got it just turned. Oh, guys, thank you so much. No one could hear that at home, but I love you. Everyone, free brown wine on Daddy after the show for doing that. Woo, thank you.
Phil Rivers is, I think, the number 1 or 2 fantasy quarterback in the league, and yet he's all the way down here at number 8 this week for you.
Well, he's at Detroit.
Really? Are you sure
no,
he's not
look,
versus KC?
I just looked at Drew Brees. No, he's versus KC. Actually, typically they do play good games and they score a lot of points. They keep it tight. You know what it may have been? Okay, I'll be honest. Maybe I may or may not have taken out a little bit of my frustration over the fact that he keeps throwing touchdowns to Malcolm Floyd and
Eddie
Royal, and just can't throw a friggin' touchdown to Keenan Allen. What is wrong? Why do you hate each other? Just lock the two of them in a room together with some tea and a guitar, and just play some Kumbaya, hug it out, and stop this nonsense. That said, he's awesome.
In a little twist of fantasy, what turned out to be good luck, the settings in my league, I picked up Allen on waivers last year, and because of the settings in my league, we're not allowed to keep guys we get from the free agency or the wire, only the ones we drafted. And I was like, but I deserve to keep Keenan Allen. I was a guy who was smart to pick him up. And I was like, oh, I'm so sad. I wanted to keep him, and he hasn't been getting it done at all. 100-yard game, everything else.
Yeah. He is the stranger we all picked up on the side of the highway last year, and when we let him in the car, we were like, hey man, how far are you going? He's like, I'm going as far as all these joints and beers can take us. And you're like, yeah, hobo with beer. This is awesome. Now we kept him in the car. Now it smells like a hobo.
Yeah.
It's got no joints, no beer. All of the magical hobo candy has run out.
We've gone off the rails talking about quarterbacks. Let's get back to Drew Brees at number 9. One of the people who works behind the scenes, our good friend Adam Porter, was just asked us, Brian Hoyer or Drew Brees this week? And we had to stop and pause and think about it.
Just enough, and we both even considered saying Hoyer. Now, then you turn around and be like, well, why didn't you have Hoyer listed at number 9? Because there's a lot of risk-reward there. Drew Brees should have a good game, but he is the one who is in Detroit, and Detroit is not allowing a lot of passing touchdowns.
Brees on the road is generally worth like 4 to 5 fewer fantasy points. Lions only given up less than a passing touchdown a game so far, whereas Brian Hoyer is playing Jacksonville. And they're terrible.
They are.
Have you heard the news?
I don't know.
Jaguars not good.
Extra, read all about it. Jacksonville sucks.
Let's just cruise through the final 5 or 6 in the quarterback list. You got Colin Kaepernick. He's coming off a great game on Monday Night Football. The Rams will do that for you. Russell Wilson stank up the joint at home. Rushing touchdowns saved like a pinch of value, but barely. He's at St. Louis. That should be a cure. And rounding out the top 15, Andy Dalton at Indy, Eli Manning at Dallas. We're in the we don't know which quarterback's going to show up territory.
Yeah.
Same thing, Joe Flacco versus Atlanta, and Matt Ryan has fallen all the way to 15. He's at Baltimore.
Killed me last week. Absolutely killed me. Matty put me on ice was his name last week. Killed me.
I think he's due for a bounce back. Baltimore's giving up actually the 5th most fantasy points to wide receivers. He's going to be okay this week.
If there's ever a week where he could come back and have one of those surprise, it's the 2014 fantasy season where black is the new white and orange is the new down, or whatever they're saying.
And all the
whatever
running
kids
backs are
saying.
injured.
I know. Eli Manning can't figure out who he is. Joe Flacco, 5 touchdowns last week in the first
He has
half.
15 touchdowns to 3 interceptions this year.
Unbelievable.
Joe Flacco.
But he's stacking and racking. He's having huge games.
Is Joe Flacco elite?
Can't spell Flacco without elite.
You cannot.
I mean, yeah.
It's words.
So who knows? I mean, really, it's just such a crapshoot at that point. If you be happy if you've got one of the elites, be happy if you sunk that draft pick. Now we're flip-flopping. Now we are saying, I'm glad we took Aaron Rodgers in the first round or whatever.
Yeah.
But people are getting burned with Brees. I don't know. Why don't we do something else?
Yes.
You want to do Dungeons and Dragons?
Sure. Or how about this? Let's talk about running backs.
Ah!
Yep, that's how I get you every time.
Every time.
Number 1, DeMarco Murray with a bullet, going for the NFL record, 7 consecutive games to start the season. If he does this, if he gets 100 yards, 100 yards versus the New York Giants this Sunday, and he will break Jim Brown's NFL record.
And I heard Jerry Jones has a spectacular in-game ceremony planned. It's going to be amazing. You should wait till you see what drops from the center of the Jerry Jones dome. DeMarco Murray, here's the thing. When does that body, he's been injured every year, missed a couple games every year. When does he, like, if I obviously in fantasy you're starting him every week, doesn't matter what, because he had a huge game against Seattle, in Seattle. So obviously he's going to have a great game against the Giants. 159 carries through 6 games, averaging 26.5 carries a game, leading the NFL by miles.
More yards rushing on first down than anybody has total.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of yards.
Yep.
Just saying, it could happen.
It's not going to happen. He's fine. He's going to be fine.
He's probably.
I just cursed him.
Has he been visiting Jim Irsay's pharmacist?
Maybe.
No wonder why he feels fine.
Number 2, Matt Forte versus Miami. He's going to be fine. Marshawn Lynch at St. Louis. Watch out. He is going to have himself a game. You can run on the Rams. And also, he didn't get the touches he deserved against Dallas. He was running. He ran well against Dallas.
Ran very well. It was 10-0. He looked like he was beast mode had been engaged. Everything was on. I think he's going to run mangry this coming weekend. That's man angry.
Beast mode engaged. Arian Foster. It's the Arian Foster resurgence. While that hamstring is holding up, he's been going off. He's your number 4 at Pittsburgh. Can't agree more with that.
I hope he's here to namaste. I apologize, everyone.
I'm moving forward. I'm just
All
going to pretend
good.
that didn't happen. Gio Bernard at Indy. He's having a great season, and we're never talking about it enough.
Why is that? What is it? What is it about? Like he's having these big games? Is it just because the Bengals aren't that interesting? Is it because they're losing of late or tying?
They you know what? They started out 3-0. They lost the big one against the Pats and the tie. that wasn't sexy because of it's just I think what it is, we're just ignoring the Bengals because they're the Bengals.
Because they're the Bengals, exactly.
But
Jeremy
we
Hill is
should.
stealing
Gio
some
Bernard
touchdowns.
has been fantastic. He's catching passes. He's getting the touches he deserves. And
You can run on Indy too.
I absolutely.
Yeah. This should be. I'll tell you what. If there's any chance of Cincy actually pulling off the upset, and I do think it would be a bit of an upset, and they kind of do need a bounce back game, considering the way that the last 2 games have ended for them. Gio, they lean on Gio because AJ Green's going to be out again.
Marvin Jones done for the season.
Done for the season.
Yeah.
Sanu has put up a bunch of big games, and he's going to get Vontae Davis this week. He could give him a little trouble.
Yeah.
Going to have to lean on that running game, and he is the best, fastest, most interesting Swiss Army knife on that offense.
We've got a related question. Usually we save the questions for the end, but I want to point out that our friend of the show, Black Eric, wants to know, is Cincy's run game good enough to start Gio and Jeremy Hill?
Yes, it is. It is good enough to start both of those guys, and I think especially against Indianapolis this weekend, I would start them both. I'd go RB1 in a flex.
I am in agreement, but only for this week. Ordinarily, because AJ Green's out and they've got limited options in the passing game because you can run on the Colts. Jeremy Hill only has 1 game with more than 8 carries. Only has 1 game with more than 40 yards. So him having any value is reliant upon him getting in the end zone. I think he's going to get a bunch more touches this week. I think 10 carries, 60 yards, and then 10 carries, maybe 50 yards. Then you have to hope he gets in the end zone.
Right. Jeremy Hill, 100% the new Mike Tolbert, and I would definitely start him.
All right. Moving down the list, Le'Veon Bell versus Houston. Sure. Jamal Charles at San Diego.
They score when they play. They average 58 points scored between the two of them when they play games in San Diego.
And just that restful week to fix whatever was wrong with that high ankle sprain. Not that it bothered him after it happened, but I like Jamal Charles getting that week of rest. I like him a lot this week.
It could be a big week for old Jamal Charles. Plus, who's having a better sports renaissance than Kansas City?
Right?
Right. I mean,
it all started last year with a win in the MLS Cup. Sporting KC kicked off the Kansas City sports renaissance. Now the Chiefs were back in the playoffs. Kansas City Royals can't lose.
And where does it end?
San Diego?
Yeah. Oh.
We don't know that. We don't know.
We don't know.
Let's move on. Andre Ellington at Oakland. Sure. Every week.
Just the kind of back to give that big line fits. Should do his job.
Ben Tate has had 2 consecutive really great games since being back. 78 yards, 2 touchdowns last week against Pittsburgh. I like, and at Jacksonville, I even like Isaiah Crowell too.
So do I. I actually have him listed in our running back sleepers, which people can't see on the screen, but I thought
they're in your head.
They're in my head, and they're also up for discussion.
All right.
So I'm thinking this week that Crowell, the reason why I like him, I kind of like him for the same reason that Jeremy Hill. Need to run the ball against a team that gives up just hemorrhages running yards. And if Ben Tate gets his 19 carries for 117 yards and a touchdown, at that point, rest him up. Let Crowell will come in, get his 7 or 8 carries, little mop-up duty. Be the porn club, janitor. Just come on in, just come and go get it. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. Happens more often than you think in Jacksonville.
Honest to God.
Let's move on. You got Alfred Morris at 10. Let's move to the back half, your top 20 here. Eddie Lacy versus Carolina is your number 11. And that is stock that is falling.
Sell.
He played 39 snaps last week. James Starks played 38. And James Starks looked a lot better than Eddie Lacy.
Did.
And Mike McCarthy is saying that he's committing to the old running back by committee.
Mike McCarthy. I don't get that guy.
Hate him.
I'm not a huge fan. A friend of mine once described Mike McCarthy as sounding like he always just had, when he speaks, he always just had trouble swallowing a hamburger. It's just a weird guy. That said, how does that play into his decision to try to get Starks the ball more often? It doesn't. Here's the fact. He looks better. He looks better with the ball in space. He's moving better. Eddie Lacy, I thought Eddie Lacy was finally going to regain that speed that had him looking like a slightly heavier set Alabama-educated Marshawn Lynch. No, he looks lead-footed again.
We've secretly replaced your Eddie Lacy with Trent Richardson. Let's see who's noticed.
God. I can't. All these guys that I kept that I thought I had great value with, and I'm sure it's happened to a lot of you out there in fantasy land as well. Eddie Lacy, Keenan Allen, people that were huge value. They're just busting people's teams now.
Yeah. This is it's a stupid, annoying thing that we do.
I know. It's like, I mean, like, if only we had more control over this pretend game that has nothing to do with anything in reality.
You got Brandon Oliver at 12. He's home against KC.
Got his points last week. Did a good job. Whatever you spent
100
on
yards
him.
and a touchdown.
Uh-huh.
Really wish I'd spent enough.
I know,
but
me
I
too.
didn't.
How much did he go for in your league?
An egregious $30.
You ready for this? In my league, somebody spent $58 on him.
That's insane.
Double sticker. They wanted to replace Ryan Matthews, and they needed to win that bad, and they got it.
Well, I guess, whatever it takes to win. I'm the one crying that I didn't get him, so.
Me too.
There you go. Moving along, Lamar Miller. Real shame about no Sean Moreno. Not for Lamar Miller owners.
Not for Lamar Miller owners. Was looking good before Broshan came back.
Yeah.
Now he bows out just like Stephen Ridley. Tough fate. But that said, Lamar Miller comes in, was averaging well over 5 yards a carry. Now he's got a pretty decent matchup this week in Chicago.
Yeah. You can run on him.
You can.
And he will.
He will.
And he's also I think on pace for about like 48 or 50 catches too. Catching the ball. I like that. You got a little PPR
Will he
action.
be top 10 this week? Maybe. Has the chance to, but I don't see him dropping any lower than where he is.
All right, I agree. Ronnie Hillman, 14, the starting running back for the Broncos, all the way down at 14.
This is before San Francisco just
true.
ever got hit by an 18-wheeler Monday night.
True, and they still have Justin Smith eating up blockers there. So, yeah, I think Ronnie Hillman at 14 is fine. I think he's probably top 12, but like that's getting picky.
He looked good. He had 91 yards against the Jets. Looked a little faster. Had more burst than I remember seeing from him. I was just thinking, the thinking that went into this one was, look, with Peyton having a chance to break this record and with a very suspect secondary, like if Austin Davis was half of a professional quarterback Monday night, they should have either been further, they should never have gone that far down that road, or they could have even won that game.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's Peyton night. Complimentary week for Hillman.
I'm with you on that. Frank Gore at Denver, sure. Ahmad Bradshaw versus Cincy, yes. Justin Forsett is number 17 versus Atlanta. Even though you've got that triumvirate of running backs in Baltimore, Forsett's been getting it done. 3 consecutive weeks of at least 11 fantasy points, even if you're just no PPR whatsoever. I like him as a play, sure.
Sure, he's great. If
Against the Falcons, dial him up.
You might have been able to grab him without even having to spend a lot of running back free agency equity earlier in the year. And I still can't figure out which way to pronounce his name, and I don't care.
Forsett.
Is it not? It's not Forsett.
It's Forsett.
It's Forsett.
Yes.
Okay, well.
I think. That's
right, whatever. He's never going to. Hey, if you want. Hey, welcome to the show, Justin.
He was a former Seahawk, so
That's right. Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Well, he should do well, especially going against the Atlanta defense this week. I mean, that's where everyone does well. Could catch a couple touchdowns this week. Matt Forte looked good on the ground, but caught 2 touchdowns last week.
Yeah, and that defense gives up tons of actually 2 consecutive weeks of giving up 10 plus catches to running backs.
2014 Atlanta Falcons rise up. Give up some points.
Give up. Yeah, nailed it. All right, rounding out the top 20, Joique Bell against the Saints, Andre Williams at Dallas, Chris Ivory at New England. I think Andre Williams will do a little bit better. I think that the Giants are going to recognize that they're going to have to run on the Cowboys, try to keep the ball out of Tony Romo and DeMarco Murray's hands, try to control a little bit of clock. I think Andre Williams will be a little bit higher in the top 20 than that.
Think so?
I like him as a start this week.
It's just an all-around very disappointing week for the Giants last week.
That's the sort of thing that
weird game.
The Giants are the kind of team, though, that they do this. They just check out, they check out for entire games. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with the team. It's just they have like a team-wide misfire a couple times a year.
Right. Just a complete misfire.
That's what you get with leadership from Eli Manning.
Right. You're like, yo, Eli, look, gummy bears. Nothing. Nothing. Just totally, just home, just wondering like, oh man, did I remember to tape Transformers?
That's what he's thinking about. All right,
Totally.
You've got a couple sleepers listed. We talked about Isaiah Kroll, Jonathan Stewart, I mentioned earlier in the show. I like him as a start against some Packers defense that I think is only like 11th in the league against fantasy running backs. You can definitely run on them. I'm sorry, 11th worst.
Yes, and I think that's going to be a high-scoring game as well.
And then Jerick McKinnon, I really liked a lot because last week he got 48 snaps to Matt Asiata's 15, got a bunch more touches, and then Mike Zimmer comes out and says, we want to give McKinnon fewer touches and Matt Asiata more. Mike Zimmer.
Come on up, Zim.
Just be a defensive coach.
Yeah.
Let me coach the Vikings offense. It will improve. I'm going to put the ball in the hands of Cordell Patterson and Jerick McKinnon, the fast people with lots of moves, and they'll score more touchdowns. That's all it takes, right?
Matt Asiata exists to look like a human map of the some island nation I've never lived in before with all of his weird tattoos, and carry the ball from the 2-yard line or the 1-yard line. That's it. That's what he does. That's all he's good for.
Yeah.
He's not a real running back. He's another one of those fullback touchdown vultures.
Yeah. He's like poor man's Toby Gerhart.
Oh. What did Matt Asiata ever do to you? Did he show up to watch a game and not bring anything and help himself to the good whiskey?
Maybe that's what it was. That was unnecessary.
It was.
Sorry.
Did his dog crap on your lawn? How dare you?
All right, let's talk wide receivers. Moving on this week, Demaryius Thomas is your number one. No argument here.
Nope.
Let's just move down the list because everybody's starting. They're Jordy Nelsons, they're Antonio Browns, they're Des Bryants, they're Brandon Marshalls, Randall Cobbs, Julio Jones. Yeah, sure.
Randall Cobb, guy's amazing. Really is. Just every week, you've got a top 3 wide receiver starting opposite you. Now, logic could dictate that he's going to draw the number 1 corner and maybe even a safety. So you should be open more often. Okay, and you're getting those looks. But now you're doing so well, you think that maybe you should be drawing double coverage as well. He's producing every week. Even with Jordy Nelson stealing what should be the best looks, he is still getting choice cuts and cashing in.
That's fantasy owners for Randall Cobb and Jordy Nelson. I hope they're sending, if not a fruit basket, then at least a nice thank you note to Aaron Rodgers this Christmas.
Don't send it. Yeah, not an edible arrangement.
No.
No, that's just lame.
A little too much?
Yeah, that's what you send people in the hospital when you want to perk up their spirits. You send men real gifts. Too bad there's not Whiskey Graham.
Whiskey Graham. Yeah, you wanted
to send you one.
A Whiskey Graham after the Seahawks game last week.
I'd send Randall Cobb a Whiskey Graham.
I could have used it.
You could have used it.
Although the local liquor store actually has free delivery.
They do?
To me, yeah. That's my place. It's great.
Wow, that's amazing.
It definitely saves on
elevator time in certain aspects. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
All right, so we're starting all of our guys all the way through 9. Let's go down to 10. I think that's where 10 and 11.
Yeah, Steve Smith. I think Steve Smith, especially against Atlanta, Steve Smith is a player you start every week. He's a wide receiver 1.
Yeah, amazing that he's worked his way to back.
The results speak for themselves. He's a wide receiver 1. You have him just locked into your lineup.
And do you want to be the person who tells him that he's not your wide receiver 1?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
Absolutely not.
Mike Wallace at Chicago is where, after a great start from Mike Wallace, I don't know, I haven't really noticed him popping up as being...
I think he's a little dinged up.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think he's a little dinged up. I think he could use, they could use, they've already burned through their bye, so I don't know if he's going to be able to pick it up too. And Chicago's pass defense, surprisingly a little bit better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that Kyle Fuller is
Kyle Fuller kid, the rookie out of Vatek,
could be a defensive rookie of the year.
I know.
DeSean Jackson is your number 12. He's going up against Tennessee. DeSean Jackson has looked fantastic the last couple of weeks.
I know. Looks great.
Long bombs, streaking past safeties. I think I love DeSean Jackson as a start. Tennessee doesn't have a great defense.
No, they don't. Tennessee doesn't have much at all.
Michael Floyd and Mohamed Sanu are 13 and 14 for you. Or sorry, 12 and 13 for you. And they've both got nice matchups at Oakland, at Indianapolis. Sanu has had a fantastic season.
Yeah.
If you grab Sanu in the 12th round, you're loving life right now. And good for you. Aren't you just so smart?
I know. Who?
That's me not having Mohamed Sanu in any of my leagues.
Who's Sanu that he was? I'll stop.
No, stop. Don't even finish it.
Just really, edible arrangements for everyone who's watching.
You really are putting Andre Johnson on the list at Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Why? Are you just that upset with Ryan Fitzpatrick? How about that sweet one-handed touchdown that he caught in the end zone against Indianapolis?
Sure.
It's a nice catch.
Yes, Andre Johnson, but he's no longer a week in, week out producer for me.
I understand that Ryan Fitzpatrick looks like he should be on Ice Road Truckers and not playing in the NFL. Let's be honest, he sucks.
Yeah.
But even his level of suckitude only drops Andre Johnson down from like a top 10 wide receiver to me, because if the catch radius, just the general fantasticness that he displays on a regular basis. He fumbled last week, but still, like, those fumbles will happen.
I'll take DeAndre Hopkins.
Get out of here.
Yep, DeAndre Hopkins over Andre Johnson.
Pack a bag and get out of here.
No, sir, I will not.
You can take your freshly delivered whiskey, your edible arrangement, and your Mohamed Sanu regret and get out of here. Hit the bricks, kid.
Number 16, you got Torrey Smith versus ATL. Yes, I like starting both Smiths at wideout from the Ravens this week. The Falcons are that kind of defense where I suddenly have great faith in everybody playing them.
Oh, a bad one.
Yes.
That's that kind of
that kind of defense.
That kind of defense, right.
Edelman, Kelvin Benjamin is a must-start every week, I think. Just that he's the only capable wide receiver for the Panthers.
There's two options. You got two guys to cover against Carolina.
It's Olsen and Benjamin.
Yeah.
And he's the man. Ruben Randall is your start for the Giants against the Cowboys. Of course, Victor Cruz is done for the season. Where does Odell? What are your predictions for OBJ? Odell Beckham Jr.
Somebody tweeted that at us earlier, and I was like, OBJ.
Object?
Yeah, right. That's exactly. Odell Beckham Jr. Well, didn't do a whole lot of much of nothing last week.
True.
Against nobody that anyone would write home about, pick up, or talk or
speak. But that's everybody on the Giants last week.
Yeah, again, team-wide malaise. They phoned it in, right. Don't know. It's very curious. He had that big game, and we all were excited to see him back. Larry Donnell made a reappearance last week. So now that you lose your slot receiver and Eli's favorite receiver of the last couple of years, who gets the looks? Is it going to be the rookie, OBJ, or is Larry Donnell going to get him? I don't see anyone else emerging.
No, I don't. I think that I think Ruben Randall is the safest play for Giants wide receivers.
Scored in 4 games so far this year, I believe. So.
Yeah, he's a good play, and I'm in agreement with you on him being the start. Yep. And T.Y. Hilton at number 20, he has been red hot recently. I think that might be a little bit low. Although, are you counting on him getting some coverage from the Bengals?
Well, they got the Darqueze Dennard kid, who's a pretty good cover corner. Not to say that that's prevented other people from scoring big touchdowns against him recently. T.Y. Hilton, that's what he does. He had his 200-yard game. Are you ready for 3 for 23 this week?
I wish I could disagree with you, but you're right. He does that.
Just saying, playing the hunch at the old hunch and gut, where it's half-price burger night whenever you like.
And also, there's a health inspection that says C on the outside of the restaurant.
No, it's just a question mark. It's just a question mark at the front window. And also Keenan Allen. We went into Keenan Allen earlier. You guys that have him, I'm with you. I've got him in a couple leagues as well. I had him as the keeper. The magical hobo has worn off. I don't know. I don't know.
Here's where I am with Keenan Allen right now. I'm at, if you don't have him, buy low on him. I would definitely trade a couple packs of cigarettes and a bag of garbage for Keenan Allen, see if I can get them. And because if people are willing to give up on him.
Well, I'm just curious why I'm interested in acquiring a bag of garbage.
I don't know, maybe there's some apple cores that still have some good bites in them.
Previously eaten apple cores.
Well, sure.
But this isn't like the Auction Hunters show or Storage Wars where I just sort of like buy it and then I open it up to see what's in there. Like, I know what's in your garbage. Garbage.
And also maybe credit card information.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, you're a busy guy. You don't have time to shred.
No, I don't. I don't have a shredder.
Okay. Well, you just sold me on the cigarettes and garbage.
Yeah, I'll take Keenan Allen off hands. Because here's the reason. Eddie Royal just hurt his ribs. Malcolm Floyd was questionable before getting 5 catches for 100-plus yards and a touchdown.
Malcolm Floyd was born questionable.
Yeah.
That was actually his name.
And Antonio Gates has been healthy this year, but he has had chronic foot problems for the last several years. And I just think that as these other more likely to be hurt Chargers wide receivers get a little more dinged up, Phillip Rivers isn't ignoring Keenan Allen. He had 8 targets last week, only 2 catches. The week before that, he had 100 yards. Like, he is getting the looks. He's gonna deliver. I hope.
Well, that's just trusting Keenan Allen at this point is like you being the one that was overserved and trusting your buddy that's like, yeah, don't worry about it, I'll be fine.
I'm
telling you.
Again, I'm at the point where like I think that I'm going to try to make a swoop on Keenan Allen in a couple different leagues. See if I can like trade him in a couple leagues where things are falling apart. Hey, you want mid-level RB2, and I'll see if I can try to get Keenan Allen off.
I got $20 in my pocket. Do I trust my friend that I know had a couple pops to get us home, or do I spend it on a cab and just eat what's in the fridge?
What if you don't have enough for a cab? What if it's walking? What if your other choice is walking?
No. Well, that's exactly what Keenan Allen feels like at this point. Let's see. I see your logic. Also, he was a big second half warrior last year.
Yeah.
A couple sleepers also worth talking about. Terrence Williams. Boy, haven't you just been something else?
He's terrific.
Haven't you just? I mean,
really good.
Touchdowns and big catches for the Cowboys, obviously, but just pointing up big time.
Yeah.
Andre Holmes, we talked about. You talked about the Raiders in the opening of the show.
Yeah, Andre Holmes and James Jones both.
Yeah, but I'm into Andre. I'm into Andre Holmes. Was a big down the stretch last year, and now he seems like he's woken up and he's got Derek Carr's trust. They put up 28 points last week against the Chargers, who had previously been a top 5 defense in fantasy, and they got smoked last week.
Yep. You've also got Sammy Watkins on the list. I think he's going to be fine after a week on Revis Island. He's going to be back.
Crabtree woke up and scored last week. And Brandon LaFell seems to have earned the trust of one TB12.
I don't know. I think this is one of those things where the only Patriots I really trust on a week-to-week basis is Rob Gronkowski and whichever slot receiver that Boston fans identify with. And LaFell's been great 2 of the last 3 weeks, 2 20-plus.
2 in a row.
Fantasy games, 2 in a row? I thought he had one
3
in between.
No, he scored. He big game against Kansas City. A couple points against the Bengals, and then a big one in Buff.
He had a relatively quiet game against the Bengals.
It was an okay game.
But sandwiched by 2 excellent games. And I just don't know if that's going to be a weekly play for me.
That's the kind of logic of people that still pay their bills in the mail. Just trust the old system. Just not quite sure about it. Come on, live a little.
Yeah.
Pay those bills online.
Yeah.
Come on, go ahead. Who's going to steal that information? Good old credit card garbage offered.
Let's talk tight ends.
Yeah.
Number 1, Julius Thomas every week, rest of the season. Yeah, he's on pace right now for 29 touchdowns. That would shatter the record of 23. He's not going to score 29 touchdowns this year.
No.
But I also...
No, that would shatter the record of 17 for a tight end by Gronk in 2011.
Yeah. Right now, though, like he's looking at like Randy Moss's 23 in 2007.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and here's the thing is like, I can say he's not going to get 29, but I also can't really back that up. Like I can't say that it's out of the realm of possibility.
And all the good coverage linebackers for San Francisco this week are hurt. Home.
I see no reason why he can't like score 2 touchdowns.
6 for what? 85 and 2 touch.
I mean, like that's an amazing game that I'm just like, yeah, that's probably what I'll get.
So now, basically, unless he's on a bye or he's hurt, we're pretty much just declaring Julius Thomas at number 1, tight end the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Jimmy Graham been a little bit of letdown. Gronk surging.
He's back.
He is.
Gronk back.
Gronk smash. Gronk back. Gronk Gronk great. His quote last Sunday when he talked to Tony Siragusa after the Buffalo game.
Saying they should all get laid.
This is fantastic. Well, first he talked about the offensive linemen. He said they got the sexy bodies. But they played a great job out there today, and they're the ones that deserve to get laid. That's just so. They played a great job.
Yeah.
He's soy fiesta. God, is he something else?
He's not a smart man.
No, but he does know
really
what love is, and big catches on 3rd down.
You've got Greg Olsen all the way up at number 3, and he's been very good. Like you said, there's only 2 options for the Panthers, and it's Greg Olsen and Kelvin Benjamin.
I hope Vontez Burfict didn't hurt him too much when he freaking Greg the Hammer Valentined him there on the goal line.
$25K that cost.
Is that what he got?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Hey, nobo's perfect.
Stop.
I can't.
Martellus Bennett is your number 4, and he's a guy you send up every week. Very happy to have.
Right.
Antonio Gates staying healthy, even though I talk about him, how he needs to get hurt already.
Yeah, why are we trying to usher him into that next phase of
I
his
don't know.
life?
Why am I being mean? I think what it was is I saw that flash from Ladarius Green last year.
There it is. You've got Ladarius Green on.
I don't even have Ladarius Green in any leagues.
You don't?
I don't. No.
No green fever.
No. I mean, like, I think I picked him up like early in the season and dropped him shortly thereafter when I think during Antonio Gates' 3-touchdown explosion against the Seahawks.
Yeah, that'll do it.
But I will say, I'm not, in case Antonio Gates or Chargers fans are watching, I don't wish him any ill. You know, like whatever. Like, it's
great.
Happy for him. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
You do you, Tony. Jordan Cameron at Jacksonville. We had a Jordan Cameron sighting last week.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. And yes.
Always pleasant to see.
And the Jaguars, among the many things that they don't do well, covering tight ends is one of the many
play
things.
football.
Yeah.
Show up Sundays. Sell tickets.
Yes.
Be interesting. Not have horrible looking helmets. Resist going to Los Angeles.
Keep people in jeans out of the pool.
You got to do something at that point. The Jaguars are so bad. They advertise that outside of like the biggest TV screen, a pool you can jump in. They have rooms with Xboxes where you can go play video games when you're at their football game, Wi-Fi in the stadium, and a fantasy zone. That's basically their owner saying, I'm not interested, and I don't think you are either.
That's not true. I would love to have Wi-Fi in the stadium. That's a great move.
Yeah, this is how people watch Cowboys games, and this is how people watch Jaguars games.
Where they went wrong was giving the people with the in the Xbox rooms the ability to play call for the Jaguars. That's not smart.
No.
Jason Witten, he's back. Scored his first touchdown of the year last week, I believe. Larry Donnell, I like Larry Donnell every single week.
He did on Odell Beckham on Welcome to the NFL. Odell Beckham OBJ week. He did fall off the map entirely.
Just disappeared. But
with Cruz being out now, I could definitely see a return to form for Larry Donnell. Owen Daniels, Vernon Davis. Here's a question for you: right before we get to the bottom of the rankings, who do you think is going to be the next tight end to sort of like? It feels like it's time for somebody new to jump onto the map, make the rankings, and get us talking, and we'll all go bid on him next week.
Well, here's a guy who's not on the rankings this week and should be is Zach Ertz of the Eagles. I think that he's
with them being on a bye.
Right. I forgot about that.
It's all right, pal. I got your back on that one.
Yeah,
It's all right. No worries.
I was wondering why we hadn't talked about the Eagles the entire show.
Yeah, there had been just a complete absence of Eagles.
Yeah.
I know. He looked good. Finally got a touchdown last week.
We don't have to talk about it.
That's okay.
You've actually the name that I like on this that you brought onto it is Tim Wright. Only one catch last week for 1 yard, but that one catch was a touchdown. I do think that there is a solid interest in the Patriots to get him more involved, make him that whatever they call it, the X tight end or
the Joker.
The Joker. Yes.
Yes.
There's a lot of guys that I like the potential at the bottom of your rankings here. Like Travis Kelce, I would be happy to have him on my team every week, especially in what we figure to be a showdown against San Diego. Jace Amaro last week, 10 for 68 on 12 targets and a touchdown. And there's been a lot of knocks against him for having bad hands. But you look at this Thursday night game in a rainy Gillette Stadium. Are they going to go for a short passing game? Go to the big guy, the big target? I like Jace Amaro this week. Sure.
I would think so. I would think so. He did get a little dinged up. We're pretty sure that Eric Decker and his gorgeous man hands and reality show loving self is going to probably draw a very rainy Revis Island.
Yeah.
So that leaves Amaro, and the Patriots are notorious for giving up a lot of yards to the tight end. And Gerard Mayo is out. But Brandon Browner is probably going to get his first game action, and I would not be surprised if, while Eric Decker is on Revis Island, it's Browner Town for...
Browntown?
I was just trying to figure out what to call that.
Taking Brandon to Browntown.
Yeah. Hey, Amaro, you're going to Browntown. Well, hey, who knows? All I know is Amaro is another day, so we'll just...
God. You came here with a full can of gasoline, dumped it all over the set, and then just spent the entire show lighting matches and tossing them around.
I know, and I've got bad gas on top of it all.
You're here to burn the stadium down.
It is. You know what it is?
Down.
It's because we picked up Keenan Allen, that magical hobo, and now I'm just trying to...
Let's talk defenses.
Okay.
You've got number 1 Seattle at St. Louis, and I definitely agree. This is not just your basic Seahawks reputation sort of thing. They finally came back after the first several weeks of having trouble getting to the quarterback, having trouble dropping interceptions. They finally started making those special teams plays. They're one of the better special teams units in the league. At St. Louis, yeah. And Pete Carroll's recognized that he's not getting enough pressure on the quarterbacks.
Right.
I think you're going to see some disguise defenses that are going to take Austin Davis by surprise.
A little back to basics, a little back to Seahawks football. Just get after it. Maybe also, too, because touchdowns count from special teams. Would it surprise you if this week, after you've had your higher hopes and expectations for Percy Harvin, of course the receiver / offensive weapon, would it surprise you if this is the week where just on that turf, on that fast track in the nobody cares dome, if he just rips one off?
You know, I would certainly hope so, because I've been one of those people saying nice things about Percy Harvin, and I'm getting worn down.
Yeah.
6 touches for -1 yards. We'll do that to him, man.
If he does that, I'm going to lump him into I may be saving room in the back seat.
He's been worse than Keenan Allen this year.
With Keenan Allen and Eddie Lacy.
Yeah.
That is not exclusive company.
Let's go back to defenses. Your number 2 is New England versus the Jets. Jets, your short week, Thursday night, sloppy game in the rain. Yeah, I'd start the Pats, D.
Right. Last year it was 13-10. Now, of course, this was when Brady didn't have much of a receiving core. It was 13-10.
So much has changed since then.
Yes. Well, I mean, you know, he has a few more people.
Now he has Brandon LaFell.
Yeah. A wide receiver just LaFell into his lap. I'm sorry.
God,
I stopped
I will
myself.
stab you with this
You
pen.
should. I would. I'll do it
right
myself.
into your jugular, sir. Buffalo versus Minnesota. You like the Bills against Teddy Bridgewater and Matt Asiata.
Well, I don't mean sorry to play Buzz Killington there, but you know, Buffalo gave up 37 points to the Patriots last week. The secondary looked really, really confused in the second half.
Yeah.
Just an excellent performance by the Patriots. But Teddy Bridgewater, I hate to say it, but now the same way we always talk about, like, if your guys are playing the Redskins, or if they're definitely playing Atlanta or Jacksonville, get all your starters in there on offense. I think now, maybe for a little while longer until he kind of proves otherwise, you may want to pick up the defense that play in the Vikings, because you're going to get a couple sacks and probably 2 or 3 picks.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's a little Sammy Scatterarm right now.
I have I have a little bit more faith in Teddy Bridgewater. See, for me, you've got Broncos at number 4 versus San Francisco. I would have Cleveland at Jacksonville up higher on the list. I like the Browns this week. They shut down the Steelers. 10 points against the Steelers. And
that was a lot of emotion. I don't mean to chalk it up to like an intangible, but that was a lot of emotion. Whereas they had previously on the road given up 28 points to the Titans.
True.
Nashville Jesus got 28 points up on them. So
yeah, but
just saying.
You know, Blake Bortles is no Nashville Jesus.
That's not. You're not the first person who said that.
So I like the Jags. I really like the Cardinals this week. Although I am a little bit concerned about that new the Raiders offense that has Derek Carr throwing for 282 yards and 4 touchdowns.
They buried the football.
Yeah.
See that whole ceremonious thing that Tony Soprano did?
Yeah. Moving down the list, let's get a cherry pick a couple ones.
Yep.
I do like the Texans every week. They're once we get out of that top 10, the Texans are number 11. You've got them at Pittsburgh. Just J.J. Watt. I benched the Texans last week to start the Ravens, thinking, the Colts are going to score a ton of points. And I forgot that, it's right, J.J. Watt can just score touchdowns pretty much at will.
Well, he's the only guy that, he's picked one off and run it to the house, took a fumble to the house, and actually caught a touchdown the same year. First player to ever do that.
Yeah.
How that guy is able to do what he does, I have no idea.
Best player in the NFL.
Hands down. And it's almost a shame that instead of, that there wasn't just, instead of having to start a whole team defense, that you didn't, maybe it would be kind of fun to be in one of those leagues where you just pick 3 defensive players.
The IDP?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've dabbled. Don't like it.
No, not a fan?
No.
Better just stick to the D.
Better just to stick with the D.
Stick with the D.
That's what she said.
Mm-hmm. Welcome.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, it feels good, right?
Yeah, no,
That's
it does not. It really does not.
No. At the end, sort of too, I wasn't really sure. It just kind of got really.
Here's the thing: if you're not
muddy.
starting one of like the 2 or 3 top flight defenses in the NFL, or one of the defenses that is facing the Jaguars or the Vikings or the Bills, then it's just a crapshoot. It's already a crapshoot. Don't get me wrong, it's already a crapshoot. But like, just there's no certainty after like the top 5 or 6 defenses.
Right. It's already difficult enough at the craps table. You don't have to blindfold yourself and then hand your money to the random strange woman standing next to you and just go, "Hey, you play, sweetheart."
Yeah.
It's crazy enough as it is.
I agree. All right, so that's our discussion for defenses. We got a couple minutes to take some questions.
And I believe we received a lot of questions this week.
We certainly received enough to talk about it for a couple minutes, I'll tell you that much.
Okay.
I'll lead things off here. Ben Freshman wants to know PPR flex, Odell Beckham or Allen Robinson. Odell Beckham, of course, is playing in Dallas, his 3rd game as a pro, or Allen Robinson, also a rookie wideout, got the Browns at home.
I'm going to take OBJ.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And again, it's just one of those things where they're both rookie wideouts. Okay, sure, Beckham's more talented. Robinson's had a couple of good games, but I'm going to go with the offense that can produce more reliably. Yes, I realize the Giants just got shut out, but this is still, this is the NFC East. These NFC East rivals always go out of their way to leave one in the upper decker for the rivals. Like, I just, year in and year out, you're like, oh, Team X is totally garbage this year. They're only going to have 4 wins. Half of those wins are going to be against NFC East rivals. They just get up to just screw them over.
It always sort of feels like, somebody's got to, like, they always seem to play better. I was surprised actually last week. I thought the Giants were going to go in there and win because it almost feels like they all win at each other's stadiums because they can't get a discernible advantage over each other at home, or there's no home field advantage. But that said, they have to force a good game into Beckham this week because, just because they're going to have to score a lot of points because the Cowboys are consistent and good. Yes, that I said that, and there's no sense of irony, no pun at the end. It was just
weird, right?
I know, it just was weird.
They've won a lot of squeakers. They had to take the Texans to overtime. They had to furiously come back against the Titans. They squeaked past the Seahawks, even though they kind of dominated the field of play.
Scoring more points on the road, weird, right?
Yeah.
Well,
anyway, let's move on.
Okay.
Philip Carper says PPR, another PPR flex question.
All right.
Andre Holmes at Arizona, or, once again, OBJ at Dallas?
Oh, I'm going to go Holmes.
I think I will, too.
Yeah.
And I hate that I'm putting stock in Raiders players now, but you know what? He's looked really good. And I think OBJ is a fine option this week, but I'll swing the bat with Holmes, sure.
So I would go Holmes, then OBJ, then Allen Robinson.
Yeah, and then like a bunch of other people, and then Allen Robinson.
Yeah, and then Keenan Allen.
Oh.
Casino hands. Done with you, Allen. Dead to me. Dead to me.
I've got some packs of cigarettes to trade you for, I'm telling you. Lloyd Miller wants to know, what's the better non-PPR play? Fitzy, who's at Oakland, or Ruben Randall in Dallas?
Has Larry Fitzgerald had anything resembling a signature game this year?
He's had a couple good games.
Good games.
Yeah. But
him getting in the end zone, though, like in a non-PPR, you need someone to get in the end zone. I'm going to go Randall. I'm going to go old Rube. Ruby. Rubadoob.
He did get in the end zone this past weekend.
Larry Fitzgerald.
Larry Fitzgerald did,
right. Yeah. Is he going to do it 2 weeks in a row?
Why not? It's the Raiders.
It is the Raiders. Yeah, they did give up 31 points.
Yeah.
Who's starting a quarterback this week for the Raiders? Derek Carr.
Derek Carr.
Who's starting this week for the Cardinals?
Carson Palmer.
Are we sure?
Are we
sure?
Are we ever sure of anything?
Are we sure? Are we sure it's not Bruce Arians' wheel of quarterback? Just spins it around and sees who is worth going with?
I'm going to go with Fitzy. You can have Randall. I'll take Larry Fitzgerald.
Okay.
The better player.
Fine. Fair. Yeah, okay. Well, does talent win out?
Yeah, talent wins out. Because it's a close one for me.
Okay.
Ruben Randall is
60-40.
Is the de facto wide receiver 1 for the Giants. Larry Fitzgerald is the de facto wide receiver 1, even though they've got Michael Floyd, of course.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, it's a good. That looks like a good problem to have. Either way, he should be okay.
I think
wouldn't be
right.
surprised if they both scored.
Seth Greenberg wants to know. This is a little bit. This might require some jotting down for you.
Okay.
Pick 2 for his RB2 and flex in a PPR league. Joik Bell versus the Saints, Pierre Thomas at Detroit, Andre Williams at Dallas, or Ahmad Bradshaw versus Cincinnati.
Bradshaw's a definite because he just scores every week.
Especially in PPR.
Yep. So
Bradshaw's a lock. Go ahead and lock him in. And I would take either Joik Bell or Andre Williams is my other one.
So that's so funny. I was thinking Pierre Thomas at first, but this should be the return of Mark Ingram this week.
Yeah.
Which does knock his value down. Even though it's a PPR league, it does knock him down a little bit.
I think, here's what I would do. I would wait to see if Reggie Bush is playing, because he's questionable this week.
Right.
If Reggie Bush is a scratch, I'm going to go Joik Bell all the way. And if not, I'm going to go with Andre Williams. I believe in Andre Williams this week.
You have a sneaking suspicion. You've got an itch that needs to get scratched.
What can I say? I ate at the Hunch and Gut last week.
Oh, what'd you think?
I was sick for 3 days. Went to the ER. They took care of it.
That's
IV.
That's what happens.
You just got to get through you, and then you're fine.
Yeah, I know. So, but it was a good time though, right?
I had a great time.
You'll be back.
I probably will.
3.5 stars on Yelp.
I'll give you 3.
Okay.
All right. And our last question of the day. Finesse King wants to know. He's got.
I used to shop there in the 80s.
Really?
Finesse King, yeah. It's fun.
Okay, good. 2 for the flex spots out of the following.
Okay.
Keenan Allen, Ruben Randall, Travis Kelce. Travis, right? Not Trevor. Travis.
Travis
Kelce, Devontae Adams, no. McKinnon or Brian Quick.
Oh.
Jarek McKinnon or Brian Quick.
Sure.
And I'll tell you what, you're going to disagree with me because you want to push Keenan Allen out of a moving truck going 65 miles per hour down I-95. I'm going to go.
Go on.
I'm going to go Brian Quick and Keenan Allen.
All right, I'm going to go Keenan Allen just because one more time.
Yeah.
I
think here's the thing. I think he's worth a flex spot. He's worth taking a chance on a flex spot.
He's like Keenan Allen is like that. Like the dealer at a card game in a casino, and just like every time you go there, she's always like, "Oh, come on back to my table, yeah. You can win big money here," and you lose every time. You're like, "Why do I keep going up to her? Keep losing money."
She can't win every hand in this shoe.
And you know what she does? She has that sneaky laugh. She's like, "Oh," you're like, "Did you just laugh at me?" And she's like, "No, I would never laugh at you." Fine, Keenan Allen. I will come up to your stupid let it ride table one more time and pick you.
Actually, I just realized Brian Quick might be getting a day of Richard Sherman.
Yep.
Again, the Seahawks don't mix up their coverages that much. If they can put him on the left side and see he can still get it done.
I'm going to go Travis Kelce because I think he's the best receiving option, not named Jamal Charles. And I could see him actually having himself a nice day in what could probably be a high-scoring AFC West affair between the Chargers and the Chiefs.
That's intriguing. I was just leaning Keenan Allen and Ruben Randall on that one, but
if it's PPR, I'm going to go Travis Kelce. I don't know. The Randall thing, I think he's got a better chance of. Well, I know you're.
Here's the thing. Ruben Randall is like a PBJ. Mm-hmm. Since you've taught me how to use these food metaphors now.
Right. He's no chicken parm.
It's not exciting. It's not exciting, but it's an easy thing to do, and it will keep you from being hungry for the next couple hours.
It works. It'll get you through a couple hours.
It'll get you through a couple hours. You're not going to be excited about it. You're not going to go home. You're not going to go to work the next day and be like, I had this amazing PBJ yesterday.
And do you know what Keenan Allen is? Keenan Allen is a really nice he's a caprese panini. Now follow me on this one.
Okay.
When you first, it has the chance to, if you get it served hot and fresh and it does exactly what you think it should, it's fresh, it's toasted, it's crispy on the outside, melty and sweet and kind of savory on the inside. But if you're like, oh, let me just make this hot panini, I'll put it in my bag, eat it an hour and a half later, do you know what you have? A wet hot dog bun with tomatoes and cheese.
Yeah.
Garbage. So, will I find that at the bottom of the bag of garbage that you gave to me along with a pack of cigarettes for him? I guess we'll have to watch this Sunday to find out, friends.
All right. Well, so I think that's week 7.
I think we summed it up perfectly.
Yeah.
Garbage, sandwiches, cigarettes, and Keenan Allen. It's like a Jim Jarmusch movie.
Yeah.
What a weird, it's just such a weird, I don't know. Last Sunday, this season has just gotten weirder and weirder. Everything about the NFL this season has been so unpredictable.
Even my teams that are doing pretty well, I'm just kind of disheartened by the entire fantasy landscape right now.
Right.
It's definitely weird and injury prone and suspension prone as well. Just throwing everything off.
Look, all I can say, friends, thanks for watching and listening and everything else, but make sure your beer is cold, your food is fresh, the company well chosen, and above all, root for your actual team. And if the fantasy team wins at the end of the day, that's just gravy on the mashed potato boat to Sunday night town.
It's gravy on the caprese.
Hey, Matt, I'll tell you one thing. This show has driven me caprese today.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.